Welcome back to the Twin Football Podcast, the weekly sports podcast where we talk everything football, Premier League, NFL, a little bit of college football. And today, Thursday, September 12th, is EPL predictions because the international break is finally over and we get the
Thank God.
first weekend of Premier League action, college football action, Premier League, NFL on Sunday to make it a great sporting weekend. So thanks for joining us here on our Premier League predictions. Now that Pep Guardiola has officially dubbed the start of the season and the end of preseason with Manchester City sitting atop the table, we bring Jacob in to get our Premier League predictions going. You
Let's get
excited
it.
for the season to start this weekend there?
I'm just glad the international break's over. Not too many players got injured. We got Ake out, but yeah, I'm just glad to get back into the Premier League.
Yes, and we will kick things off with the early game here in the United States. Southampton taking on Manchester United. A lot of deadline day drama there for Manchester United. Sancho moving down to London to join Chelsea. Ugarte comes in, hasn't played yet, but is going to be available for the first time here as Ten Hag gave his press conference today for this game. I think it's going to be a little bit too early for him to start in this one. They played Uruguay played Venezuela only 2 days ago. They got the early kickoff here on Saturday, so I just don't think it's going to be enough time for him to get that start. We saw Casemiro last time out give possession away like it was candy to Liverpool, and he just is his legs are gone. It's sad to see. I think he just needs to move on. He needs to either be coming off of the bench or just leaving top quality football altogether. As sad as it is, the 5-time Champions League winner. But I would love to see Ugarte get minutes here. But I think the only way that happens is if they can get out to a lead and hold on to it. And the way Southampton give away the ball last week or last 2 weeks ago against Brentford, I think that forward press with Bruno, I think Rashford could have a good game here. So I'd like for him to start on that left hand side. We'll see who starts down the right hand side. I am a big Garnacho fan. I hope he gets the go in this one. But that forward press, if they can keep that going, they're going to win the ball back, get a early lead, and I think then the second half we'll see Ugarte come in and kind of hold things down for United. I like a United 1-0 victory here on the South Coast.
Yeah, Southampton just struggling for goals. I like that pick.
Yeah. Liverpool not struggling for goals. They take on Nottingham Forest. Do they keep their title charge as and undefeated streak in the Premier League going for you?
Yeah, they absolutely do. You know, Nottingham Forest coming off a draw against Wolves. Chris Wood getting his second goal in 3 games. Not too bad start of the season for him. Nottingham Forest still technically undefeated. One of their wins is against the promoted side and 2 draws against what you would consider bottom of the table teams. They just had a pretty good signing from loan from West Ham, James Ward-Prowse. We know what he was about for Southampton. You know, I think that's a great signing for kind of a bottom of the table team. He can just come in and just give you a wonder free kick and just get that odd goal that could just scrap some points, keep you out of the relegation zone. I love that signing for them. I had higher expectations for James Ward-Prowse and West Ham. He didn't really fit with them for some reason. I think it's also good for them to loan him out for now. Maybe hold on to him if he finds his form again. Liverpool, though, sit just under Manchester City, only on goals scored. They're tied on goal differential. They're looking amazing. They haven't been scored on all season. They're the only team that can say that. Still no goals from their big money strikers in Gakpo and Nunez. They won't be worried about that. I still really love the Diogo Jota false 9. I see Arne Slot not straying away from that. He'll sub on Nunez and Gakpo around the 70th like he has been. Yeah, I like Liverpool winning comfortably at Anfield here.
Yeah, the only team not to concede so far this season. You know, I've been touting Arsenal's defense, but it's Liverpool who still have yet to concede. Nottingham Forest 3 goals on the year, no chance, in my opinion, there that they're gonna get anything from a game at Anfield. Palace at home, however, Leicester will like their chances due to the fact that Palace sits 16th so far in the season, 1 draw. and 2 losses. Now, their draw did come away to Stamford Bridge last time out. They bring Mateta back. Eze, with a great goal. Can he keep his form going? Early in the season, he just seemed a little unlucky. Get that goal called back, I think, against West
That free
Ham.
kick. Yeah.
Yeah, the free kick.
What a free
Wrongfully
kick, man.
taken.
That would have
What a
been goal of the season if they didn't
Oh,
disallow that one.
absolutely incredible. And so I think the attacking power of Crystal Palace will be too much for Leicester, especially a team in Leicester who just like to play out of the back for some reason. I don't understand this. The beginning of the season, I feel like half the goals are from teams failing to play out of the back. Just don't do it if
Yeah.
you can't. There's no reason to be holding onto the ball in your back line when you don't have the ability to consistently get out. Just hit it if you are in crisis, knock it up the field, and then kind of reset yourself. I said the same thing with Southampton, where I liked United's press. I like Crystal Palace's forward line, Eze Mateta, coming back now that he is kind of getting integrated after that long extended summer with the Olympics for France going all the way to the final. I like Crystal Palace at home. 2-1, maybe. I could see maybe a late goal, a penalty for Leicester, but I do like Palace at home.
Yeah, Company had the same issue with the Burnley last year. He wanted to stick to his game plan like he did in the championship and just play out from the back and hold the ball, try to play for possession. And it's just a different monster being in the Premier League. I think Leicester will figure that out as they get more experience back in the Premier League. You got Jamie Vardy just play on the counter. I know he's old, but he's still got some nice pace. Yeah, I like Crystal Palace too there. Next up, Manchester City at home to Brentford. Brentford will be super happy to finally be done with the Ivan Toney drama. They got about 50 million USD for that transfer fee to the Saudi Pro League. Can't spend it because the transfer window closed right after that, but they'll be happy with that money. They already put a price tag on Mbumo for about the same amount, so they're just trying to develop players and quickly sell them, I guess, is what their strategy is right now. And Mbumo with 3 goals coming off with a brace against Southampton. We'll see if he can keep up that form. He's got the second most goals in the league right now. Manchester City, though, is starting off the year on fire. Haaland is already got 2 hat tricks in 3 games. It's the most goals in the first 3 games of any top flight English season ever. Haaland just can do no wrong. They're top of the table, like I said, because they got 9 goals over Liverpool's 7. Liverpool's just breathing down their neck, though. It's going to be tough to keep them. Ake getting injured on international break. You hate to see that. That's honestly, I enjoy international break here and there. It's good to watch the U.S. team try to regroup and see how they're doing. But man, the injuries mid-season is just such a buzzkill. And Ake hasn't gotten that many minutes for City this year. I don't think he was fit, but he was getting more minutes and then he gets injured. So you hate to see that. Grealish getting a nice goal against Ireland. Maybe Pep watched that game and he'll finally start over Doku or Savio.
No chance. No chance.
Yeah, I like City rolling, though. I'm not going to pick against them until they show why I shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, even Brentford kind of picking up some good form as they find themselves in a European place after 3 matches. I just don't see anything but a City win and a couple goals from the main man himself. The main man for Aston Villa, Ollie Watkins, opportunities, and no goals. You just cannot get onto the score sheet, it seems like. But you know who can? You know who has the same amount of goals as his former team? Onana for Aston Villa, getting in the box and getting a goal. The second goal, I think, last time out, the winning, what ended up being the winning goal against Leicester. Everton, 2 goals. Onana, 2 goals for Villa so far this season. Everton sit bottom of the table, 10 goals against. I like Villa here. We'll see if Ollie Watkins gets the start. I think this is a good game for him to get going, so I'd like for him to get the start. Duran is going to be pushing him. Obviously has been fantastic so far at the end of last season, the beginning of this season when he's been getting minutes. Scored 2 2 minutes in, I think, when he got subbed on for Villa last time out. Oh, excuse me. He got the second goal. Onana got the first goal, and Duran kind of subbed on, got the second goal there. I like Villa in this one. Everton, for me, they just are in too much of a crisis mode to really put up a fight there away to Villa Park. Give me Villa at home.
Yeah, I got a shout out to the Aston Villa set piece coach. If you haven't seen it, go watch that set piece against Leicester. He drew that up perfectly, and they executed it flawlessly. What a goal! Every team nowadays has like their own specific dedicated set piece coach, and you always see teams try to pull off these really neat worked 1-2 passes, and when it comes together, it really looks so nice. That guy deserves a raise. Good for him. Next up, we got Fulham taking on West Ham in West London. West Ham traveling. Fulham coming off a draw to Ipswich Town. Sanderberg got his first minutes as a sub back in the Premier League. We'll see if he gets his first start. Fulham's still only loss is to United this year, so they'll be pretty happy with their performance so far, but taking on a tough West Ham team who's coming off a loss to Manchester City. They're tied for a bit thanks to a own goal from Ruben Diaz. Didn't really give Manchester City that much trouble. Fulkrug out with an injury now after a little bit of a slow start to his PL campaign. Luckily, it's not as serious as some people thought, so hopefully he's back. But for now, we'll probably see Antonio get the nod again. He's been starting at striker pretty much every game this season. I like West Ham here to win. I think they've got too much with the likes of Paqueta, and yeah, I don't see Fulham.
Yeah, I just need a consistent game from West Ham. I feel like we've been waiting for them to put a good 90 minutes together. Even that game against Villa, back and forth. Obviously, Souček is going to give you a hard 90 minutes. But outside of that, from team perspective, I think Lopetegui is going to need them to be giving more consistent performances, and not a better way to do that than in a London derby against Fulham. Chelsea taking on Bournemouth away after a crazy international break for Chelsea. We had all of the news outlets come out during this what's supposed to be a nice 2-week break from club football and focus on international, like you mentioned. The U.S., Pochettino finally officially being hired, 2 games there, a couple goals for Pulisic, 1-1 draw against New Zealand there. But, that's what our focus should have been on. But instead, we have to play Team Bowley versus Team Igbali in a civil war crisis as Chelsea fans. Who do we believe? Who do we want to take more control of the club? Obviously, Clear Lake have 61% of it, and they supposedly don't want to give up more percentage. They're only going to look to gain control. Will Bowley be completely pushed out? I guess time will tell, but the transfers from the beginning of the ownership to the middle to now current policy, we've seen it change a couple of times, and now the news is coming out to why that is, and it's because of this disagreement here. So that is going to be in the whole lead up to this game against Bournemouth. Obviously, Jadon Sancho was walked out at Stamford Bridge in their 1-1 draw against Crystal Palace as the new signing on deadline day. I don't think he will get much minutes. He definitely won't start for me. I like Neto to start on that left-hand side. But Chelsea, we saw this last year with Pochettino. We've seen it already this year, despite the nice quality signings. It's just inconsistency. They have good halves. We saw, 4 goals against Wolves a couple weeks ago, and then they follow that up a loss to Servette in the Conference League, in the Europa Conference League, and then good spell in the beginning against Crystal Palace, a late equalizer to end up splitting the points there at home against a team that you need to take all 3 points against if you want to compete for these European places. And we'll get into the Conference League and the choice to leave out Cole Palmer for the group stage. I mean, I get not playing him, but just leaving him out of the squad altogether so he can't play just doesn't make any sense to me, especially considering the fact that we lost away to Servette. I mean, that's what is the confidence that we have that we're going to be able to get out of the group right now with the inconsistent play that we have. Obviously, Bournemouth sitting 8th right now in the table. Got to be loving where they are at right now. But I like to see Chelsea go in there and give us a little bit more of a consistent performance. So give me Chelsea here away to Bournemouth.
Oh, picking your own team to win a game?
Yeah, I know, it's a
Wow.
surprise. Okay, I was right last time out, and to be honest, with the Wolves game,
You were right. I picked Chelsea to beat Palace, and you called the draw.
I mean, it's just the
You were
inconsistency.
not right about the Wolves game. That was
I
the
was
best
right
win of the season.
I was right for 45 to 55 minutes of that game because, to be
next
honest
up,
with you, it could have been 4-2 Wolves at the 50-minute mark, and then obviously everything else unfolded. So I have faith. Okay, I have faith. It's just we can't seem to.
It's a tough time to be a Chelsea fan. That's okay.
Very tough.
Next up, we got Brighton taking on Ipswich Town. Ipswich getting their first point of the season that we rightly called in a draw against Fulham. Ed Sheeran will be celebrating his first point in the Premier League. Brighton coming off a draw against Arsenal where they had huge help from huge help from the ref, huge help from very just bonehead decision by Declan Rice to kick the ball away. Yes, letter of the law, that's a yellow card. Second yellows, in my opinion, should be treated differently than first yellows. It should have just been a warning. He should have just got yelled at for doing that. And then if he did it again, second yellow, red. You shouldn't give out a red card and ruin a good game like that. But Declan Rice should not be doing that. I'm sure he'll feel dumb about that. But you got to feel for Arsenal fans here. That was tough. And Brighton was not going to get anything in that game without that help. I think Brighton, despite their third place on the table right now, is just I don't want to say that they're lucky, but with their performances, third place flatters them. They're not they haven't really outperformed. They had that luck against United with that Garnacho Xerxes disallowed offside goal. João Pedro has had a couple like late minute like towards the end of the match. Nice goals, give it, but to save some points late. I don't think it's sustainable the way they're getting points right now. Luckily, they're playing Ipswich Town. I see them getting the win here, but I think they really need to be a little bit worried going in to try to protect this good start that they've had. They seem very vulnerable on the defensive side. They still need to kind of figure out their center mid. Matoma, I love. João Pedro is having an amazing season so far. I think that'll be more than enough to get the win at home at the Amex against Ipswich. But yeah,
I like Brighton in that one as well. And as you mentioned, no Declan Rice now for Arsenal in London, in the North London derby against Tottenham. They tried, you can't appeal 2 yellow cards, so he gets the 1 game suspension there, so he'll miss out. And Van der Ven was, partly to blame for the reason why maybe Ake got hurt on international duty, because he was left out of the Netherlands squad due to the fact that he picked up an injury last time out for Spurs. Hopefully he's going to be fully ready to go in this one. I think when you have a Romero there in the back line, I think you're just asking for a little bit of issues when you have Arsenal's front line coming at you. I don't think Big Ange has beaten Arsenal at home since he's taken over Spurs. I think they haven't won, I know, in the last four games against Arsenal. So it just depends on who's going to come in for Declan Rice. Most likely it'll be Jorginho. Odegaard also picking up an injury for Norway is going to be really tough for them. I like a draw in this one. I would love to see Solanke come in up top after not playing the last 2 games for Spurs. Son moving on to that. He's still out. I knew he had the ankle injury. Big Ange said that he might be able to come back right before the international break. So I'm hoping that he does come back. And I would move Son over to that left-hand side to try and give Arsenal some problems there. I love Saliba. I think is the best center back in the Premier League right now. So it's going to be, how can Tottenham's midfield overrun Arsenal's midfield with Declan Rice out and Odegaard out? I think Arsenal are going to go to try and hold on to the ball as much as they can with Jorginho. But I like a 1-1 draw here. I don't think either team is going to run away with this one.
Yeah, kind of a
And
buzzkill with all the injuries.
kind of,
It was set up for such a. I mean, you always love to watch a North London derby. There's so many goals in it. I don't think this one is going to be so high scoring with so many injuries, especially some offensive players.
Yeah, I agree. Wolves taking on Newcastle here to close out the week 4 of the Premier League. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, so Newcastle coming off that huge win against Tottenham. You have to say both their goals were kind of against the run of play, but
Oh yeah,
but you still got to put the ball in the back of the net. Joe Linton played super well again. I think he's their player of the season so far. This early on in the Premier League, he had that amazing turn and just threw ball to Jacob Murphy. Jacob Murphy got on his bike and just unselfishly slots it in for Isak, who gets an easy tap in. Dan Burn had a pretty horrible own goal. Honestly, just really bad mistake. It wasn't on target. He thought it was, so he sticks out his knee and just knocks it in his own net. If he just lets it go, it doesn't go in. He had another mistake like 10 minutes after that should have been a goal. He's getting a little bit older now. I still think he's solid, but you can't be making mistakes like that in the Premier League. And I'm sure he'll be hard on himself for that. Newcastle still undefeated, even though they're starting the season a little bit underwhelmingly. They'll try to get some points here against Wolves. Wolves coming off a draw against Nottingham Forest. Only Everton conceding more goals than them. Perhaps that's a little unfair to say. Chelsea had 6 against them in one game. I just don't think Wolves look the same without that Neto dynamic play. Obviously, they still got some great players in Cunha and Huang. I like Newcastle here to get after that big win. They'll get some confidence beating a good Spurs side, and I think they take the win at Molineux.
Yeah, I like Newcastle on that one. I know you start the season 2 with that red card. That was unfortunate for Newcastle. Obviously, going against the run of play against Tottenham. It's really grinding out wins here in the Newcastle fashion, the Eddie Howe fashion. And so I agree. I like Newcastle there as well. And that will do it for our week 4 Premier League predictions here on the Twin Football Podcast. Thank you for joining us. Again, enjoy the weekend. Premier League, college football, NFL, finally the first weekend of the year with all 3 going. It's going to be fantastic, and we will see you all next week.